Hello, children. Have you ever wondered why your shadow follows you everywhere? Why you can see yourself in a mirror or why the moon shines at night? Let's uncover these amazing mysteries of light together. Hi there, everyone, once again. I'm Srishti ma'am, your science teacher. Welcome back with a brand new chapter on light, shadow, and reflection. What are the topics which we are going to read today? We are going to cover 4 different topics today in this video. Firstly, we are going to cover the sources of light, luminous and non-luminous objects, transparent, translucent and opaque objects, and finally, rectilinear propagation of light. So, moving on, we are having 6 different types of pictures given here. Now children, you can see the ones which are giving their own light have been already ticked for you. That is the first picture, the third picture and the fifth picture. But my question is to you all, which of these are natural sources of light and which one is the artificial source of light? Can you tell me? Yes, children, the first one and the fifth one is an example of natural source of light. The first one is the image of the stars, the heavenly bodies, which are giving off their own light. And the third one is an artificial source of light because it is a tube light, which you can see in your own light in the classroom in your daily life. And the fifth one is an example of an insect which gives off its own light. Can you tell me? Yes, it's an example of a firefly. But you might be thinking that, ma'am, you said that the heavenly bodies are giving off their own light in the first one, the stars. But why isn't moon giving off its own light? It shines bright in the sky in the night. No, children. If you remember what you have learnt in your previous classes, moon never gives off its own light. It just reflects the light which it receives from the sun, and it is only and only reflecting of the collected sunlight which it is receiving. Okay, so don't get confused on which objects are giving off their own light and which objects are not giving off their own light. Okay, now there are a few questions. What happens when you enter a dark room? Are you able to see things clearly? Yes? No, I believe. What happens when you switch on the light suddenly? Obviously, we are able to see everything clearly now. Why? Why is it so, children? Because light is the answer. Light makes everything visible to us. It is a form of energy which helps us to see everything. Light, the main source of light on the earth is the sun. Please remember this. It's very, very important for your exams, for your own general knowledge. Okay. Historically, another very, very famous source of light have been used by the humans on a daily basis. That is fire. You know about that, right? How fire was invented? Yes, by rubbing two rocks, the frictional force was used between the two rocks, and finally it gave birth to one of the very, very utilized source of energy, that is fire. Moving on, we are having about sources of light. Light sources are of two types in general, natural and man-made. Natural sources of light include sun, fireflies, etc. And the artificial sources of light include artificial or man-made, whichever you say, are lamps, candles, torches, bulbs, etc. There can be various other examples which you can remember, which you can tell. It is not necessary that everything you have to remember according to your books, according to your notes. You can write anything which is correct, which comes to your mind, because science is not about any limits. It is all about correct knowledge, and it is all about your own way of presenting your own knowledge, right? Okay, moving on, we are having some other examples. See, there is an activity given where they are asking the natural sources of light and the man-made or artificial sources of light. We can see various other examples as well, so you can have a look here as well. One science fact they are sharing: the light that comes from the sun is a combination of the 7 different colors which are present in the rainbow. Do you remember? The Vibgyor: violet, indigo, blue, yellow, orange and red. All these 7 colors are coming together and forming the white light. Did you know that? If not, now you know. Now we have been given 2 images. See children very carefully. We are having a picture of a sun and we are having a picture of a moon. Now can you tell me what is the difference? Yes, both are having their own light. Is it so? No, absolutely not. Sun is a luminous object and moon is a non-luminous object. What do we understand by this word luminous and non-luminous? The word luminous means the objects, or in general it is derived from the word illuminating or illumination. So what is the meaning of illumination? What is the meaning of illuminating? It means giving off light or spreading light. So luminous object refers to all the objects which are having their own light. For example, star, tube light, candles, etc. And the objects which do not have their own light but they are reflecting off some luminous object's light are known as non-luminous objects. For example, coal, moon, plants, etc. Any other object. Non-luminous objects always reflect the light of the luminous objects, and as a result they are visible to us. The non-luminous objects are reflecting off the light they are receiving from the luminous objects, and whatever reflection is happening, it is reaching our eyes. Therefore, we are able to see them. Or else, if the non-luminous objects wouldn't have reflected any light, we wouldn't be able to see any of the things we are able to see right now. Maybe you might not be able to see this video as well at this point of time, right? So please remember the objects which are giving off their own light, luminous objects; the objects which are not giving off their own light, non-luminous objects. But one important note, children, do not get confused between the sources of light and the luminous and non-luminous objects, because the sources of light have been differentiated into 2 parts. One is man-made part and one is natural part. Now, luminous objects covers the 2 sources of light. It can be an artificial one, it can be a natural one as well. So don't get confused there. Luminous objects cover both the types of sources of light. Okay. So moving on to the next part or the next topic: transparent, translucent and opaque objects. What do we understand by these 3 words? Transparent, translucent and opaque objects. Now, the topic which we are going to read is the ability of an object to allow light to pass through it. Okay, the objects which are allowing light to pass through it completely, absolute transmission of light is happening through them, are considered to be transparent objects. And the objects which are partially allowing light to pass through them are considered to be translucent objects, and the objects which are not at all allowing light to pass through them are considered to be opaque objects. Objects that allow light to pass, as I mentioned, through them without scattering or absorption, or those objects through which we can see clearly. For example, the ruler you are having in your pencil box. For example, the glass water bottle which is present in your fridge. All this counts to be transparent objects. Okay, children? The clear water, cellophane sheet, etc. Translucent objects are the objects through which partial transmission of light is happening. They scatter or diffuse the light a bit. As a result, they are able to pass a bit of light through them. Therefore, we can see the thing present beyond them in a very blurred way, in a very blurry way, right? See, one example has been given, frosted glass, the picture which we are able to see on our screen. The first picture is an image of a clear glass window. As a result, the light is able to pass clearly and we can see the beautiful scenery outside the window. But in the next picture, they have shown us it is a picture of a frosted glass. Therefore, we can see a very blurred image of what is present beyond that frosted glass. That is, maybe a mug is kept on the table, I don't know, somewhat like that. Finally, the last type of object, which is an opaque object, which is not allowing any type or a bit of light to pass through it. Therefore, it is considered to be an opaque object and we don't know what is kept inside that door, what is present inside that cupboard. Maybe if it was made of glass, we could have known. Never mind. Now children, one activity has been given where they are asking which type of object are these. Wooden box is considered to be an opaque object. Tracing paper is considered to be a translucent object. We can see butter paper also. In bakery, maybe some of your parents or you as well maybe have tried bakery or baking a cake in some point of time in your life. Maybe you have come across the butter paper. If you have seen butter paper or tracing paper are examples of translucent objects. Wire mesh, an opaque object, it doesn't allow any kind of light to pass through it. Air, this is a very tricky question. Transparent. Plastic, translucent, not exactly transparent, translucent. If it is a very good quality plastic, maybe it can be transparent a bit, but in general we can consider it to be translucent. Okay, now the final part of today's video, that is rectilinear propagation of light. Now, what is the literal meaning of rectilinear? The word rectilinear means the linear. What is the meaning of linear, children? Linear means straight, absolute straight line. The light is a form of energy which can only and only pass in a particular format. It can only pass through anything in a particular form or in a particular way, and that is in a straight line. It can never form a curvy line. It can never slither around its way like a snake. It can only and only pass through any object in a straight line. Propagation, the word propagation means traveling. So, the literal meaning of rectilinear propagation of light, children, means the absolute straight movement or traveling of light. You must have seen in cinema halls that light comes from a projector and travels in a straight line. Light from a lighted torch also follows a straight path. These examples show that light travels in a straight line. It cannot bend in any in between or change its direction if there is an obstruction. This property of light to travel in a straight line is considered to be rectilinear propagation of light. The rectilinear propagation of light can be proved by the two forms of light. What is light? How can we see light? What is the form in which it is present? How does it pass through various objects? It is always passed through in the form of a ray or a beam. What is a ray then? A ray is represented by a line with an arrowhead drawn to show the direction of the traveling or propagation of light. And a beam of light is a border or a collection of various parallel rays moving in an organized manner. You can see, children, the ray diagram have been given. In the first figure, we can see a ray of light, an arrow which is showing in which way the light is traveling, and in the second picture we can see a collection of many rays forming a beam of light. Okay, for example, if we cover an artificial source of light, for example a torch, with a cardboard having a small hole in it, we are able to see a beam of light very clearly. If you see, for example, we cover the front part of the torch with a cardboard and make a small hole in it. Now, when you light the torch, then only a small set of rays will come out. This is the beam of light, children. So, I hope it is clear. I hope you are able to understand that what is a ray and what is a beam of light, or what is a beam. Now remember, a ray can form a beam, but a beam can never go back to a ray, right? A ray can always come together to form a beam of light, but a beam of light can never go back to a single ray of light. It is very difficult in general. So if you are asked that is ray or beam of light the same thing, the answer will be absolutely no. A ray is a singular, it's a very singular thing, but a beam of light, it's a plural thing. It is a wider thing, it's a broader thing in general. Okay, so remember these points whenever you are understanding the beam of light or a ray of light. Now see, children, one image has been given, which an activity or experiment also we can say, where a boy is standing on one side of the table and on the opposite side of the table we are having a candle which is lit. Now they have placed 3 cardboard sheets. They are having small holes in the same point. In every cardboard, the hole is punctured absolutely in the same place. But if the holes were not punctured in the same place in the cardboard, will the boy be able to see the lit candle on the other side of the table? I believe no, because light always travels in a straight line. If the hole was punctured in any other place in the cardboard sheet, the light wouldn't travel in a straight line and the boy wouldn't be able to see the candle. So this example makes it much more clear, or proves the property of rectilinear propagation of light. Okay. So thank you, children. We will be continuing with shadow in our next video. Until here we have studied the sources of light. What are the sources of light? Natural sources of light, artificial or man-made sources of light. We have studied about the 2 types of object: luminous, the objects which are having their own light, and the non-luminous, the objects which are reflecting the light from the luminous objects and they are not having a light of their own. Then we have discussed about transparent, translucent and opaque objects. Finally, we have discovered or we have studied that light always travels in a straight line, and this property of light is known as rectilinear propagation of light. So, we are keeping it till here. We will be meeting again and discussing about the shadow and the last topic of the chapter in our next class. Until then, bye bye. Have a nice day. Thank you.